We need one more.
Well, I guess we'll just give it a few more minutes to see if anyone else joins. I know Scott isn't here and Marie.
Right. They're the only ones I've heard from.
Okay.
Rico.
There we go. All right, it's 7:01, so I will call this meeting to order. Welcome, everybody.
All right. Roll call. Chair Amy Wilson,
Present.
Bryn Dunning,
Here.
Sarah Harkness,
Here.
Guy Mason,
Here.
Andy Sakaris,
Here.
Councilmember Ward, who is filling in for Councilmember Cuesta.
Here.
And we have Inglewood School Liaison Jen Hubbard.
I am here. I'm driving, so I'll turn my camera on as soon as I get home.
Okay. And excused, we have Marie Hoda and Scott Gilbert. Staff, we have Director Christina Underhill and Library and Cultural Arts Manager Mark Mullis. And I think somebody, Austin Stryker, just signed on. All right.
All right, so next up is the approval of the minutes from our last meeting.
I missed roll call. Sorry, everyone. I was a few minutes late to join tonight.
Hi, Austin. Oh yes, our super short meeting last time, I remember. This looks good. I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Did
And
you
then a
get
vote.
that? Debbie, did you get that?
Yeah, and then a vote.
Okay, yeah. So all in favor?
Aye.
All approve?
Aye.
Anyone not approve? No. Next would be public comment, but we don't have anybody from the public here. So that brings us to the statistical report.
Great. Hello again, everyone. Sorry I'm back, and that means it'll probably be a little bit longer a meeting, unlike the last one. So apologies for that. Sorry. Statistics for last month, I think the numbers will largely be unsurprising. One thing I did want to draw everyone's attention to here, I think I've mentioned this before, is the physical visitors number. We don't have a way of tracking the number of physical visitors right now because the device that we used to do that ended up malfunctioning, didn't work anymore. So we worked with our IT department. They have a new system, much more modern setup in place. We're just waiting for the vendor to come out and do an activation. So I expect that will happen sometime this month. And then so that means for the September meeting, we'll probably have partial numbers for August. I'm expecting that by the October meeting, we'll have accurate door count numbers again for September. Let me know if there are any other questions about any of the stats, and keep in mind that I will be talking about the summer reading statistics a bit later in the meeting.
Are you guys seeing an increase in visitors? I know you don't have an actual count, but is it looking more similar to last year at this time, or?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I don't think we're where we were in 2018 or 2019. But I'd say we're certainly a lot busier than last year at this time when we were just allowing limited access for the computers. So I think the numbers kind of bear out, roughly what you're seeing in circulation, where we're, much farther along than we were last year, but not quite where we were before. That's similar to what the foot traffic's like. My two numbers there. All right, we'll do action plan updates. Did we? Okay. Paint project. So you probably heard about this at the last meeting, because I know it was ongoing at the time when you met last month. We had a crew come out and paint the entire public area of the library in early July. Basically just a refresh for most of the library, but we tried to add color throughout. So if you visited lately, you've probably seen some splashes of color near the computers area and some of the other walls. We tried to pick stuff that was a little brighter, a little bit more fun. So that was a big disruption to having to shut down some staff spaces, that sort of thing. But the painters did a great job. The city support from the facilities project team really was great. So we were happy that went well. We got the book drops repositioned during August. The two of the book drops that were out by the traffic circle had rotted out, or had rusted out rather, along the bottom. So those were recycled, and then the two of the four that were along the parking garage side were moved out front. And so next step, so those got powder coated recently. The next step is going to have like a graphic design vinyl wrap applied to them. And that will be sort of with the Jolt image, if you're familiar with the sort of street art library card image that we use. During the last month, we've also been very busy hiring and training. We have 3 new library associates on the team, and so as you can imagine, that's a huge chunk of our team. So we've been busy getting them up to speed. They're working out great. Phoebe, Sydney, and Caitlin are their names. I encourage you, when you're in the library next, introduce yourselves. And then we have a current active post, or actually we just closed a posting for a full-time security associate. We've talked about that here in the past. And Christina and I will be conducting interviews toward the end of the month for our top candidates for that position. And then finally, we submitted a grant for the American Rescue Plan Act, and we expect to receive approximately $12,000 in funding from that can be used in calendar year like 2021 through, I think, October 2022. We have pretty broad discretion in how we could use that money, with the caveat being that it's something along in the vein of pandemic recovery. So we have a couple of things in mind. But just want to let you all know that money is going to be available. We expect, because this is one of those grants where you pretty much just they set up a series of hoops and say, please jump through these hoops, and if you can do that, then you have you'll get the funding. Also in July, a few weeks back here, we got a partnership with a nonprofit group called the Reciprocity Collective. They assist people experiencing homelessness, or people who are somehow economically or socially marginalized. And so they are going to be using one of our study rooms on Monday mornings. They set up appointments with people, and then they'll have sort of one-on-one sessions with the people who set up the appointments. So we really are excited about this. We're just starting. They explained from their perspective, it takes a little while for this sort of thing to build. We need our staff to know about it and be directing people to this. They need to start, making some connections with people who are using our library, so that people know to come in on those Monday mornings to meet with them. But we think this is great. This is kind of a half step toward like what it would be like to have a social worker in the library, and that's certainly something that has been discussed, widely. Yeah, and then we had one of our staff members presented to the City of Englewood Homelessness Action Team, and that presentation was really well received. We got a lot of great feedback from the police department, from some of the other sort of nonprofits in the city who were participating in this stuff. So I was really proud that she did so well with that. And that was Amy Duranick who did that. Cool. So yeah, so if you all remember the Nook in the library across from the Sherwin, we talked about how we want to turn that into sort of the local history Nook. We worked with facilities. We got that area a little bit cleaned up. Got the shelving, so the countertops removed from that, and the drywall repaired and then painted. And then just today we got the shelving up in there, so that we'll be able to move the Colorado history materials into that space. And then we moved over some of the display cases that we have as well. And we met with the Historic Preservation Society to start planning our first displays and some graphic design work that will go in there. So we'll have the collection accessible soon, and then the sort of micro museum sort of thing that we're going to try with rotating displays from like our historic archive and EHPS's historic archive should follow in the next couple of months here. Or, I'm not exactly sure. It just depends on how quickly we can get in sync with EHPS on that one. Teen Space, we met with IT to specify some of what we need from our Teen Space PCs. That's kind of the only action on that. The other thing is that there's a closet in there that belongs to the library that we're getting cleaned out. It's been the part of the Historic Preservation Society's archive. So in order to get that space converted fully over to being a teen space, we're probably having old rocking chairs and stuff in there isn't exactly conducive. Cool. And then the summer reading program continued in July. It's officially wraps up here on August 15th, but it's largely the programs piece of it has wrapped up, and I'd be happy to, in a moment here, to dig into some of those numbers.
Well, I guess we're ready for the new business then. Unless anyone has any questions.
One quick question. Of the new staff that you've hired, are any of them bilingual?
No, and we've looked, we did not have applications, very many from people who are bilingual who have had the qualifications. It's a great question. But it's not a day-to-day need that we've identified, so it's not one that we've prioritized.
Okay, great. Thanks for that.
All right, I guess we're ready for the summer reading recap.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we finished up summer reading, the program piece of it, here at the end of July. As you saw in the statistical report, in July we had 50 kids programs with 1,513 attendees. And then in June, the other month of summer reading, we had 54 kids programs with 994 attendees. So those are pretty good numbers. If you look at those historically, those are putting us, like I said, between, certainly way farther along than we were in 2020 when everything was virtual, and approaching the kind of numbers we saw back in 2018 and 19. And our goal, of course, is, as soon as we're properly out of the pandemic, which there was a point in the summer it felt like we were going to be, we can get those numbers back to where they once were. The Kids Stage series of sort of family events that took place throughout July were all really well attended. We had 145, roughly 150, 175, and then 85 attendees for those. So those were really well done and really well received. Big thanks to the performers. I was able to catch 2 of the 4, and they were both, like, my kids had a great time, and I hope yours did as well, or if anybody here was able to attend any of that. The completion rate was we had just some context for our numbers. We had 755 kids and teens signed up for the summer reading program, and 385 as of the end of July had completed, putting us at over 50% completion rate, which is pretty decent. If you can get over 50%, that's good. Completion rate is always one of the biggest challenges for libraries and summer reading, because it's how you know that the program actually accomplished its goal. And I think that the fact that we're able to keep above 50% completion is really good. Some context for those numbers: we had 280 fewer registrations this year than we did in 2019, but 250 more than in 2020. So that's what I mean about us being kind of like halfway between those two. And then we actually had, even though we had 280 fewer registrations than in 2019, we had 103 more finishers than in 2019. So in 2019, they had a 27% completion rate versus a 51% completion rate in 2021. That's a big jump. And so that part of that reflects that a lot of our summer reading program registrants were with Englewood Public Schools. And so we had a very good completion rate with the people who were doing summer reading through the school. And so that was about 100 of those kids, which is about how many more finishers than we had than in 2019 were reflected in those numbers. We also had 173 more finishers than we did in 2020. And in 2020, our completion rate was about 42%. So just wanted to give you a little bit of that context, and then answer any questions that you might have.
No
I don't have any
questions, but just happy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
just
cool,
happy
yeah.
that it went well and that you're starting to get people back in there. I feel like a lot of people have gotten, with my kids anyway, like it's almost harder to get them to do things after being isolated for so long.
Yeah.
Like it's a push again.
Yeah.
So good to see that completion rate.
Yeah. That's a huge credit to our children's team. That's really, I was really pleased. Thank you. Do you want to move on to the next item? All right. Library marketing. Okay, so this one is really more of a question that I had for all of you, which is, we're looking, and now that we're past summer reading, we're starting to think about what our priorities are for the back half of the year. And, promotional library is a huge piece of the conversations we've had. And I was taking to heart a comment I think Andy made it a few meetings back about take advantage of this group. A lot of smart people here on the board. And so I wanted to just ask you, some of the things we're thinking about doing towards the back half of the year. I was thinking we want to do a patron satisfaction survey. So something we send out to our patrons who are on our email list and ask them some questions about what they like about the library, how they use the library, what they'd like to see from the library, that sort of thing. Then also thinking about, we have an advertising budget, not a huge one. We have a few $1,000s available for this sort of thing. Possibly doing a direct mail promotion, or doing something where we're spending some money to try to advertise to people in the area, and let them know the library's here. But these are all very preliminary ideas, and I wanted to just throw this topic out there to all of you and get some feedback about what you might like to see.
Go ahead, Andy. I see you unmuted right before me.
You go ahead.
Awesome. I have one question, and two questions. First and foremost, does the library have any sort of flyers or anything physical that, for example, at my gym, our youth programs are starting to take off and fill up? And I'm sure most of them live here locally, and I haven't heard any of the parents mention anything about the local library. That would be nice to parlay the question into that if we had anything physical that local businesses could hang up or whatnot, that would be nice and informative.
Real quick, are you thinking more like posters or rat cards?
I mean, even just like 8.5 by 11 flyer. You know, a lot of the local businesses
Yeah.
will have a cork board or an area you can put up events, and we put up stuff like the VFW by us does a food truck on Tuesdays, and so we relay that to our students and whatnot. But that would be a good way on like the local basis to get the library's name out to people that might not know but partake in other businesses. And then the second one was just what sort of, if any, online social media advertising marketing plans we might have. I'm curious about that because that's what I do for our gym. So if anyone's seen an ad or anything Apex Combat Academy related, I probably have something to do with that on the back end. So, and that's like the biggest part for us in a hidden little area. And I know how beneficial that can be. So I'd be curious if we have any plans for social media and online marketing.
I mean, yeah, we've discussed that previously. We certainly have a regularly updated Facebook presence. We've dabbled with doing some paid promotions, some paid pushes on Facebook, and really didn't see great return on that. And so I, definitely in asking this question, I think, I'm thinking more about sort of the physical marketing, but I'm certainly open to hearing suggestions if there's something we haven't discussed previously about social media or something we could try there that you think would be particularly likely to work well.
It's kind of hit or miss. And I know Facebook Ads Manager is what manages Facebook and Instagram and any social media platform owned by Facebook. I know a lot of times if you do the boosts or you pay to boost the promotion, that's not directly tied to like a campaign. So I'm definitely not an expert, but if we do anything that's social media based, I would love to look at it and see if I have any input ahead of time, just with my experience, I guess. I know it is hard to target the correct demographics too. That would be something that I could see the library trying to focus on and like dwindle down is what target demographic would you even push online to as far as age groups and parent demographics.
And keep in mind we have thank you for that. And we also have the communications team for the city who when they're not helping with our water emergencies last week, are able to are able to provide some assistance on some of this and some expertise on some of this stuff as well. And that's something that we haven't, I would like to fully tap into for this in the fall.
Right on. Well, once the team has a plan or whatnot, reach out to me and let me know kind of what the ideas are. And I'd like to just see them and maybe give some feedback if possible.
Appreciate that. Andy, I think you can jump in.
I'm getting better at using the hand, so I don't talk over people. So,
I don't know if I'm supposed to call you or Amy.
It's fine.
So,
it's fine.
yeah.
I'll just call him myself. It's fine.
I can't see everybody, so I can only see 5 people for some reason. Sorry about that.
I think one thing I would talk to touch on the digital side and then sort of some physical stuff, I think I would talk to your IT department. I know you just hired a new IT director, so I don't know when he gets on board, but I would look at retargeting ads. So if anyone in sort of a set area searches libraries, book rentals, bookstores, what to do with your kids, those are those ads that if people are proactively searching those type of things on the internet, you can directly serve them ads mostly through Google or HubSpot. But I think it's a good way to target people that are actually searching out the services versus hitting me because I like the library on Facebook. I already know about it. I think about those things, but I think there's a general thing. I think that there just needs to be more education in the community about the library. I've been here 2 years, and outside of signing up for the email list and getting my library card, I had no idea how to do it. There's not a lot of proactive communication, especially for new move-ins. So, I think we talked about in the past, and I could be making this up, so forgive me, but if there is a new member packet or working with USPS as if people change their address that they, you know, they get a piece of mail. I think it's a good way to target the folks that are moving here in quite large numbers, to just explain all the services that the library, and quite frankly, in tandem with the park service and, you know, all the activity classes, I think that can be sort of a shared cost mailing. But marketing is driven around events, right? I mean, general awareness is great. So I think thinking about things that you can market that will draw an audience versus just like, come check out the library. It's just like, well, there's 50 other things to do that day. So I would really think about, if your marketing budget, to drive the activities or the classes or the concerts or the programming, because it'll keep it fresh and make it easy and sort of step and repeat, instead of trying to be like, well, what are we going to market this week? The new Nook and come see Colorado. I would really spend your energy and money on promoting the programs. I think would be probably the biggest bang for your buck.
You're almost describing then sort of so we usually think about, if you're trying to promote a program, what you're trying to do is draw, you know, numbers to that program. So you're really trying to do, in a lot of cases, is capture somebody who's already a library user and get them to show up at the program, because that makes your program numbers look good. And then, you know, it makes you feel like, oh, we threw a successful program. But in a way, what you're describing is kind of, you use the program as the leader to get people into the library. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's really inexpensive with digital. You know, I think direct mail gets pretty pricey pretty quick. So when you get in your next budget cycle, I would think about adding maybe a zero to that little $1,000 budget. I know we're doing it at the clerk's office, and we're like, how much is it going to mail to $70,000? What? You know, I think it, you know, and I think anything that you can partner on and like tap in and co-brand stuff. I know when I worked at the Butterfly Pavilion, we partnered a lot with the Westminster Library and some of the other libraries, and come see the butterfly at the library. You know, it drew folks in. And, you know, I think hearing from the parents on this group would be really helpful. Like, what's going to get you into the car and into the library, or you to talk to your friends to bring their kids to the library? I think that's pretty, you know, yes, the older demographic is a good target, but, you know, really you start to lose folks in the library out of high school. So, you know, just think about, you know, what is going to be the biggest return, and how to keep it fresh without having to reinvent the wheel and put it on staff that aren't marketing folks.
And I wonder how much partnership you guys have with the schools in terms of marketing, like your teen and tween programs. I know they're usually monthly. If there was something that went out maybe just a week or two before that to let them know. One thing I'm surprised about is a lot of Inglewood students actually don't live in Inglewood. All of my daughter's elementary friends live outside of Inglewood, and some of them are like, oh yeah, I've been to the library once. But that's an audience you could also capture, I think, with just the same thing as Andy said, just make it event based. Like, hey, there's a fun, I can't remember what your next tween event is, but just marketing the event and I think you would get a lot of kids, and their parents would come in too and be like, oh, this is a cool library. And also the book clubs. And when you partner with the businesses that do the book clubs at their business, that helps when they help advertise. And also, I know we've talked about Nextdoor, if the communications team, if they would be willing to help you guys advertise, that would be great.
Yeah, and if we send them like what you're describing, like events, you know, promotions for those, like they will put those up, you know, on Nextdoor for us. So that is something that we can.
That's good. Especially the book clubs.
I mean, certainly like, book club is an interesting one. But like something big like Kids Stage was, I believe, promoted on Nextdoor. I can't see the Inglewood Nextdoor to verify that, but we certainly sent that to communications and did a co-marketing push for that one, and you saw the numbers that matched. Yeah, cool. So co-marketing efforts with the schools in particular is what I'm hearing there, Sarah.
Yeah, I think even just a week or two, like if the teachers, if they can spread the word, even just to the teachers to mention it, or better yet, send something home in their backpack.
Yeah. Cool.
I think it would help, even especially the closer to the day, the better.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't totally give up on the Facebook marketing, especially for the events. We'll try some events.
put the push behind those big events that we're trying to drive.
Yep.
Think of things
Events and
like
services will be the free carrot to dangle in front of everyone's head to
Mhm.
get them in. Because a lot of people don't even know what services the library even offers. So
absolutely, yeah. I lose track of it all sometimes. I mean, it's just like, yeah, the more, yeah, we have so much stuff. The next big thing I think of that'll, I mean, there will be others, but you know, one really big one that we always do each year and that we're working on again is going to be the writers retreat. And like, that's the sort of thing, like definitely, you know, we would put that kind of like extra weight as guy, what you're describing, like don't give up on the Facebook, like, you know, pay for those stuff, those big events that you need to drive some attention to. Now, if we're doing Facebook, there's a couple of different ways. You know, I think we'll work with our communications team and look at some of the, you know, to try to explore that. So we're trying, you know, the different options that are available, you know, targeting different demographics, that sort of thing. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
One other thing to make your staff aware who do run your Facebook, there's something in the industry calling a force like. Anyone that does like or comment or anything on your page, you can invite them to like the page. You know, I think that's a really helpful way of a lot of people will like and do things. And like, I've never been asked to like the page. I did it myself, but you know, I commented on some things and shared some things and I chose. So if, you know, they just can go in and it's called force liking and you just sort of encourage them and invite them to like the page. Not that you're going to get a huge reach on it, but at least then they're in your universe, both for ads and then also they'll just see the things that you're posting a little bit more frequently.
Yeah. That's cool. So I'm hearing just overall, like this focus on sort of like two different things. One is the social media, specifically Facebook, and then also Andy, you were talking about the retargeting ads with Google. And what was the other one you mentioned? Hotspot.
Yeah, HubSpot, you know, it's just an ad program. You can do it through, like, you know, Facebook, you can upload all of your emails that you have into the ad manager that you have for your email list, and it'll target those folks that signed up with those emails on Facebook. So there's some different ways to do it, and I'll send some stuff around. But your IT team probably, your city comms team probably know all about this and can be helpful with it.
Yeah. And then, so I'm hearing about that social media stuff, and I'm also hearing about this more grassroots stuff. So like what Austin was talking about with the flyers, what Sarah was talking about with co-marketing with the schools. So kind of reaching out to the businesses, and you'd like to just see sort of so that'd be a little bit more proactive.
We should use the Chamber of Commerce if they involve with the library in any way to reach out to any of the businesses.
We know them well, so that's definitely something. Yeah,
that'd give a big list of. I mean, they have a poster list of people that accept flyers and various things you can hang out with in the business.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate all this. It was, you know, like I wanted to tap into the expertise here, and I'm getting a flood of it. So thank you so much, everyone. This is definitely not a final version of this conversation. I think we can revisit this periodically, and so thank you very much.
Anything else to add to that? That good? For old business, we talked about meeting in person next month, but we only have a few people here. I don't know, what is everyone's feelings on this?
I'm ready to go back in person.
Well, we could vote. See how it goes. What do you guys think?
I'm a little more hesitant now that things seem to be going downhill fast.
Yeah, I second that, especially with a newborn at home.
Oh, that's true.
Andy, I'm mostly concerned about kids.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we do go back, I would request that everyone provide a copy of their vaccination card before we go in. I know in Denver, we're requiring everyone that's on boards and commissions and the staff to be vaccinated. I don't know if we can do that or not, but I would prefer if folks aren't vaccinated, that is their choice, and they stay at home in front of their computer.
I totally disagree with that. I think that's a really bad road to go down. City Council talked about that and they decided against it. If we decided to use masks or something like that, I would be fine with that, but I think that's a road too far.
I think we should follow what city council decides for that. Austin, what do you think?
I mean, I understand both ways. I know all of us want to go back to normal life and everything, and I know there's I'm not the best person to ask because I hardly watch the news or hear anything from mainstream media, so I'm not entirely even informed of what all craziness is happening outside of a few variants or whatnot. But I'm kind of with Sarah. I think with my ideals, I wouldn't want to like show me your papers, you know, but at the same time, you want to be safe and know. So maybe we make it optional that if you are vaccinated and you do want to go in person, cool. Otherwise, maybe they could like be broadcasted on a smart board, or if there's anything in the library that we have that could pull up like a screen like this of everyone's faces. So it could be
I don't think we have,
or-
we
I don't
can't
have-
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in that case, maybe staying digital until everyone feels safe would be the easiest option, but I'm all ears for everyone. So
Yeah, I'm definitely open, to going back in person like in the future, but yeah, just with how the numbers are looking currently, yeah, just for at least next month, my vote would be to still stay virtual.
digital.
Okay, it sounds like it'd be 4 to 2-ish. I'm on the fence. I don't really care. I'm
Right.
willing to go back, but it doesn't matter to me. So well, let's put it on for old business again next month, and we can decide like each month until we get there.
Awesome.
Councilmember Ward, did you want to add something?
What, Christina?
I was just going to note that the city does have meeting rooms set up for hybrid style meetings, various conference rooms other than in the library. So if the board did want to meet in a hybrid format, that is possible.
Maybe could you guys find out more about that and see what it would take or if it's worth it, or?
We are set up to do that. So it's up to you if you want. We haven't tried it yet at one of these meetings. We were going to try with our Parks and Recreation Commission on Thursday, but everybody decided to stay online. So we'll be virtual possibly for that. We'll find out later this week. But we do have the capabilities. I think you just have to be patient with us while we use the
Okay, well, let's just do it in person. I mean, online next month, and then we can have the same conversation again. And maybe we will have had someone who tried it, the hybrid. Do we need to vote on that, Debbie, or can we just say it? What do you want us to do, or what should we do?
I think you could go either way. If everybody's in agreement, just going, just kind of, does everybody agree? Is there anybody that feels differently?
Okay, so does everyone agree that we would meet online next month and continue the conversation?
Agreed.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we all agreed to that then. That's better too, probably, because we are missing some of our people.
Yeah, we'll just say it was consensus.
Does anyone have any other old business?
Where are we, I guess, like capital projects? I know we had talked about that a couple months ago, but is there anything that we need to be like narrowing down or making decisions for how to use that funding?
And that's a good question. So right now we're just collecting ideas for capital projects. And when we get closer to the end of this year, in November, December, we'll have you guys start talking even through the first of the year of how you want to prioritize, if you want to add more or eliminate some. And so right now it's just a conversation and collecting your ideas. So if anyone has any ideas, let me know and I'll add it to the list.
So maybe I'll be thinking of that for coming meetings if you think of anything to bring that. Any other old business? No? All right, staff's choice.
I don't want to step on Mark's toes. I'm just going to announce Celebrate Inglewood is an event that's coming up. The library will have a booth out there showcasing everything that they're doing on August 28th. It's a Saturday. It's going to be at the police station over by Miller Field. We'll be utilizing the street, the front of the police station, and there'll be some activities happening at Miller Field. The event's from 10 to 2. It's really geared towards family and kids. Police is going to be giving tours of their station. We'll have the steamroller out there making some art. We're all excited to see this because I'm pretty sure none of us are really sure what this is going to do with the steamroller and the art it's going to create. So we're excited for that. But we encourage you all to come out and enjoy that event. And like I said, the library will be out there with the rest of the department, really showcasing everything that they have to offer to our residents. So we've got that coming up. And then the weekend prior, so August 21st, just if you're interested, if you live by Romans Park, that park's been under construction now for about 1.5 years almost, and a little longer. And it's going to be reopened to the public. So it's new playgrounds, a new restroom, picnic shelter, slack line, basketball courts, tennis courts. It's almost a new park. And Keep Inglewood Beautiful just donated some funds to paint the mushrooms that are out there, nature themed. So we're really excited to kind of put the final touches of that park by having an artist come out and paint the mushrooms that exist at that park. So the reopening event is going to be at 9 a.m. on the 21st. It'll last for about an hour, but the park will then be officially open to the public. Oh, and this weekend, I'm going backwards in the dates. So Friday night, movies in the park will be at Bates Logan showing Aquila and the Bee. And that's going to be Friday night. The movie will start at dusk. And that's all.
Sounds like fun. Mark, did you have anything you want to add? Councilmember Ward, do you have anything?
Nothing to add. Thanks for having me tonight.
Thanks for coming. Board members' choice? I don't really have anything.
But any news of the school? How is school doing?
Oh, yeah, school too.
Schools
Jen?
are hanging in there, right? We're hanging. To be brutally honest, I work for a school district and I'm on the board for a different school district, and I don't remember when Inglewood starts. I think it's Monday, either the end of this week or Monday that Inglewood starts. But we did decide to have everybody wear masks all the time. Again, just we're starting out the year that way. We figured with Delta variant coming on board, and that way nobody had to, it wasn't, oh, if you're vaccinated, do this. If you're not vaccinated, do that. It was just easier to have something across the board that was pretty universal. And then we can always relax that later if, if the data shows, that we can, or that it's, not as yucky as it is right now. But other than that, the teachers are back, everybody's doing PD and getting their rooms ready, and they're excited to see kids. And a lot of the other, the cohorting and the distancing and, all of that stuff, the health checks at the door won't be happening. So really it's just the masks. So hopefully it'll be a little bit more normal. I know that a lot of folks don't love the masks, but we just thought we were trying to keep as many people safe as we could, as well as trying to keep those numbers down in the general community. But because there's going to be munchkins all together now. But other than that, then they can sit and have lunch with their friends, and there won't be any masks required outside. And so maybe some teachers will be able to take advantage of teaching classes outside or something like that, just to kind of give everybody a break. So, but other than that, we're just gearing up for a new school year, and fingers crossed that everybody gets to stay in school. But as it stands right now, what we've heard from Tri-County and CDHPE is primarily that there won't be contact tracing. If kids do, test positive, it's not going to be like the mass quarantines like we had last year, where they'll quarantine whole classes and grade levels and things like that. So we're inching back towards that normal school year as much as we can.
Cool. It's nice not to get colds all the time too, personally. Any other board members have anything?
I survived the Englewood water crisis of 2021.
Yeah, we did.
Good job. We're all alive except some people missing.
Although me and all my neighbors that got sick and tried to blame it on the water crisis, apparently we were hypochondriacs. So,
Mark, what did they do at the library when they had no water?
I was gonna say, actually, Christina survived the Englewood water crisis of 2021, but no, we just turned off the water fountains. We just weren't available, and then we put signs on the bathroom doors saying, "Please don't drink the water in the bathrooms." But we have for staff, we have water bottled, like a bottled water service, so with a deep rock sort of thing. So.
Cool.
But yeah, it was really cool to see the Englewood city staff like rally like crazy. It was people were signing up to man the phone banks and to do water distribution. It was actually really impressive to see, and like a good sense of camaraderie among everyone that we were working with. Just kind of fun to have a reason to get together with people from all these different departments that you wouldn't normally cross paths with. So it was cool. But obviously very disruptive to everyone's normal lives. So that part was not so cool.
A lot of angry people too, geez. Next door.
I made the mistake of going to Safeway right after it was announced.
Yeah,
I was
you
like, what is
shouldn't have-
happening here?
You shouldn't have mentioned that bottled water, Mark. That's going to be the newest Englewood conspiracy theory, that staff drinks bottled water.
Oh, we have a water cooler.
That's why there was none for the people.
Just started something.
Yeah.
All I have is I'm excited for my kids to go back to school. I'm excited to hear about the not quarantining large groups of kids. Last year, my high schooler, her last week of school, she got quarantined and had to do finals online, which is, the teachers were even like, if you take the final, it'll affect your grade for the better, but if you don't take it, nothing will happen, because they know kids are just going to cheat. And so I'm excited about that. My kids are excited. Also, just wanted to say congratulations to Bryn on your new baby. That's a big, a big change in life. And also I wanted to congratulate Austin because I saw that his business won Business of the Year. This was like a month or two ago, but since he was talking about it, it reminded me of it. So congrats to him too.
Thank you and congratulations, Bryn. We're also happy for you.
Yeah, thank you all. been an adjustment, but we love our girl. So
Anyone else? No? All right. Well, then this meeting is adjourned at 7:47 p.m. and we'll see you all online next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.